Yeah, before starting this, okay, so good morning, everybody. So whoever has joined, can you all give a quick introduction? I see three people have joined. Like a quick introduction in the sense, how much are you aware of this Tableau CRM, or whether you are completely new to Salesforce or not, so that I can get a little bit of clarity on that.
Hello, my name is Srilata.
Yeah, hi,
Like,
Srilata.
hi. Actually, I'm from QA. Like, I have experience of 2 years in QA. Like, after that, I got a huge gap, like few years.
Sorry, two
So
years
I
in which technology it was? Salesforce.
no QA, quality assurance.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean QA,
Um,
but in which technology?
I like testing this web applications,
Got
desktop
it. Okay, okay.
applications.
Fine. Sure. Okay. Yeah,
So
thank you, Sheila. Yeah,
yeah,
continue. Sorry.
so I got a gap in my career. So in 2000. I started learning Salesforce and I achieved two certifications like admin and developer. So I started searching for the jobs. After after 1.5 year, I got job in as a Salesforce BA. That was a contract. It was done. So still, I need to learn the things which are good in the market. So for that reason, I'm attending this demo.
Okay, Sheila. So you have a basic idea about Salesforce, right? Because you
Yes,
have already done certification. Got it. Okay,
yes.
thank you, Sheila. Yeah, next.
Hello, this is Chandni.
Hey, hi, Chandu.
Hi, I'm new for everything. I don't know about Salesforce. I haven't worked till now after my graduations, so I don't know about anything about Salesforce.
Got it. You're a complete fresher, right?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chandu.
Yeah, hi, my name is Varun. I am having overall experience of 4 years and 1 year in Salesforce.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. So thank you, all three of you. So uh, let me start with this Salesforce CRM Analytics. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So basically, this Salesforce CRM Analytics, which was earlier known as Salesforce Tableau CRM. Okay, and quite previously it was known as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. So very recently the name got upgraded. It was known as Salesforce CRM Analytics. But otherwise, basically the tool had remained more or less the same, except they have upgraded a few features here and there. So it's nothing but an analytics tool, Salesforce CRM Analytics. And I hope you have a little bit of idea about data analytics, right? So it helps you to visualize the information which we manually do in some readable format. For example, if you open any Excel sheet, you get to see so much information over there, right? And based upon certain filtration, if you want to achieve those information, you can easily do that, isn't it? So it could be Excel or any other PPT kind of a thing. uh, yeah, somebody new religion, just mute yourself. Yeah. So to get a better visualization, we actually always love to represent it on the dashboard side. Okay, so that's how currently we all love to do it, right? Because through Excel sheet, I mean, whenever you're doing filtering and all, it's giving you in readable format, but things will be actually very boring. So just to ensure we have a better visualization, we can actually drill down by, just looking into the dashboard. We always go for analytics tool. Okay. So in Salesforce also, we have this kind of feature. Okay. For example, if I open any one of the dashboard, which probably I have currently, mm, for example, over here, if you see, I have this filter over here, and there was a created date which I had, and there was this industry. Okay. And after that, there were certain charts which has been also represented as well. Fine. So let's say if I select certain thing, for example, for this vertical or industry, let's say if I select agriculture, if I click on apply, you can see how the charts are getting reflected right now. So there are only few industry which I have. Let's say if I select some multiples, then I can see how the charts are getting faceted. So these are this is why you always need a visualization tool. With the filterings and all those things, you can have a better visualize the data. So at the end of the day, it's all the data only which are there, which you have in your normal Excel sheet, or any particular other application where you're maintaining that. But you can have a better point and click over here. So for example, you can select any filters, and then you can, um, if you want to view certain information, then you can easily do it from here. For example, let's say for this vertical, if I want to go for media, okay, if I click on apply, I will get a better visualization picture over here. Something which you can do on the Excel sheet as well, but it will be just by simple data, right? And let's say if I want to go for any account type, okay, so based upon this filtration, we have only this filtration left. So let's say if I remove this filtration, and if I want to see certain countries, for example, India and US, if I click on apply, you see the dashboard are getting faceted based on that. Okay. So it gives you a better visualization perspective, rather than just watching in some sheet kind of a thing, or just jotting it down somewhere. Because earlier, how we used to register the data, like let's say when there was no internet and all, we used to write it in a single copy, right? Or maybe we used to maintain a register note, isn't it? I remember, at least when I was during my school time, when I didn't have access to mobile phones, I used to always jot down the contact numbers in a particular phone book. There used to be a phone book diary, and after that, of course, it used to be alphabetical phone book, so it became easier for me to search for that phone number as my contact increased. But later on, of course, with access to mobile, I was able to save it in my phone history. Okay. And similarly, it becomes easily accessible after that. You don't have to remember any number, or you don't need any diary to carry on with you. Mobile is something you always carry on, so it become easily accessible. And with all the features which you have in mobile, uh, it makes it relevantly easier, and you don't have any kind of headache to just contact anybody. So similarly, when there used to be some business or some kind of, if you must have seen in some old sweet shops also, today also they kind of take some person's name and number and store it somewhere in the diary, if it's a very old shop who doesn't have access to the online market at all. So in that way, they actually collect a lot of data, and let's say at a certain stage they need those data to have further contacts, then it becomes difficult for them, or they have to search it in the diary and all. But as days progressed, as years progressed, of course, we actually love these visualization tools. Different visualization tools came up, which made our life relatively easier to able to access the data, but in a better visualization format. So there are a lot of visualization tools which we have, like analytics. We have Power BI, and there must be a lot of other things. Okay. So in Salesforce also, this is one of the visualization tool which you have. There was something, since a few of you also know about this Salesforce itself, we used to have something called as Salesforce reports and dashboard. That's a standard report and dashboard which we maintain. So for example, if I go to sales, you have some dashboard, standard reports and dashboard already built up. For example, I had one of them in this particular org. Okay, so I think some of the data are not there. Okay, anyways, I guess it would never open for a long time, that's why it's not opening right now. But basically this is just a report which I have, and dashboard is nothing but a collection of all the reports which I will be making. Fine. So it was something which we have over there. So we have the standard reports and dashboard, but there were a lot of limitations which we had. For example, bringing all the standard objects at one go in a particular dashboard, it used to become difficult to do the filtration and everything. And of course, there was certain limited number of charts which you could have added, and certain limited number of filters which you could have added in a particular dashboard. So, and one more thing is that the Salesforce standards reports and dashboard, you can only work with that particular org data. Fine. Until and unless, of course, you are doing something programmatically, it is not possible to show you any data over there. Okay. So there have been quite a lot of disadvantage with the Salesforce standards and report which we had, and to overcome those, as well as to add certain other limit, to overcome those limitation and to add certain other extra features, this Salesforce CRM Analytics something we came up with. Okay, so this is all about the visualization tool. So that's the first thing you just need to remember. It's very simple. It's all about viewing the data. Okay, now how you can create a Salesforce CRM Analytics. So this is a separate product. Fine. So for example, if I click in my Analytics Studio, you will see this Analytics Studio over here. So through this only, you will be able to view that particular product. So since you all are already have a bit of knowledge about Salesforce, so for example, if I click on sales application, I get to see a lot of these objects which are there, right? I can access it in the Salesforce itself. But for the Analytics Studio, you always have to go over here. Now, this is something you won't find in any normal org. Okay, so I'm quite sure whatever org edition you have, you will not find it over here until unless you explicitly create an org from this particular link. Fine. So remember this CRM Analytics, or so when I say CRM Analytics, it could be either Salesforce Tableau CRM or Salesforce Einstein. So currently the name is Salesforce CRM Analytics, but earlier it was known as Salesforce Tableau CRM, and before that it was also known as Salesforce Einstein. So all these three names are all same. Okay, so don't get confused much with the names. It's just that in the market somehow the new name sometimes doesn't uh, circulate. So that's why many people call it still as Salesforce Tableau CRM or Salesforce CRM Analytics. But anyways, the name doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what matters is the product and its features. Fine. So that always had remained the same, and of course it just got upgraded with time. Fine. So this is a particular link where you can create your free Salesforce Tableau CRM. This is a particular product which you have. It is usually purchased. If there's any company who wants to use this product, it has to be purchased actually. But currently, as a developer, you always have access to this free org. Fine. So Trailhead actually provides you this free org. So this is the link, and I'm pasting this link in the chat window. So after you create this particular through this link, when you create that org, you will be getting access to Salesforce. Fine. Just like you all have access to the developer org. It's the same thing. There's no other uh, extra information which is required. You all must be familiar. It's just that the link is different. Fine. So once you receive an mail, and if you click on those link and follow the points, you will be able to open this org form. Okay. Now after that is done, if you go to this particular app launcher, so you are aware of this nine dot is known as app launcher. You can search for this Analytics Studio. Fine. And once you click over here, you will land up to this particular page, as you can see over here. Okay. And from here, if you just click on this setup, you will go to data manager. Fine. So before I proceed ahead, I hope the basic definition is very clear. At least you all got an idea of this Salesforce CRM Analytics, what it is all about. And of course I will be walking through some extra features also which it will be doing, but the basic concept got clear actually, right? Like why you are here, what is the CRM Analytics all about in a simple term. Any question up till here? Whatever I have done, I haven't walked through the details also till now, which I'll be doing now. But up till now, whatever I covered, any question? Okay. So now, yeah, anybody wants to say something?
Yeah, like earlier I was thinking like reports and dashboards are there. So what is the need for CRM Tableau? So
Yes, yes. Yeah, actually, as I told you, there are some limitations which you have in
yeah,
say, standard reports and dashboard. Which to overcome that, we are having the CRM analytics right now. I have those points jotted, which I will note you down. Okay, but basically, like practically, as I told you, you have a lot of objects, right? You have these
mhm,
accounts, leads, campaigns, all those things you can't bring in one dashboard. You can bring the charts and all, but if you have the common filters, right, it will be difficult for you to do the filtration over there in Salesforce standard reports and dashboard. That is one limitation. Another is that it's only org based. So for example, if I've opened this org, I can only view data of this org in the reports and dashboard until and unless programmatically you achieve something. That's a different story altogether, because through Salesforce programming you can achieve a lot of things. That's a different issue. But in a general way, it's not possible to show some data from other external sources. Fine. In the reports and dashboard, you will only get to see data which are relevant in this org. Okay. And
okay.
there could be a lot of limitation in the number of charts you can build up. Fine. So number
Mm.
of charts which you have, it will be difficult to bring in all the charts and all. Okay. So those are some
Yeah, and one
limitations.
more thing. Yeah, one more thing. Like, so we can create reports and dashboards only for standard objects.
No, no, you can create reports and dashboard for custom objects as well.
Okay.
Okay. Now here, this is your Analytics Studio. This is where all your features related to Salesforce CRM Analytics. So one thing I am always saying, Salesforce CRM Analytics, and I will continue to say so, but don't get confused with the terms. It's currently called as Salesforce CRM Analytics, which is same as Salesforce Tableau CRM or Salesforce Einstein Analytics. Whatever name you want to call it, you can call it. But yeah, since this is the current name, so that's why I want to call it Salesforce CRM Analytics. Fine. So in this particular thing, you get to see all the features which you have. Okay. If I hover to this apps, so app is nothing but a folder kind of a thing. Just like you have a certain folders, right, in your computer, and you store certain information in that particular folder. That is what the app does for you. Okay. So whatever dashboard, stories, lenses, data set, whatever we have, we always can dump it in a particular folder where we want to. So don't get confused with these terms. I will actually explain each one to you. Okay. But this is more of a folder. For example, if I click on my private app, I can see these are my dashboard, stories, and title data sets which I have over here. Okay. And now let's say if I click on this, let's say shared app. In this shared app, I can see these are all the dashboard, lenses, and data set I have. And now if I click on, let's say, demo app svtechsample, then again these are the dashboard, stories, lenses, and data set which I have over here. Okay. Now let me give you a very simple thing. For example, if you go to this account, right, in this account you can see, for example, if I just go to this one, all accounts. Okay, now here you get to see all the accounts information. This is nothing but a list view, isn't it? In this list view you'll be able to see your account name information, the account site, billing state, phone type, account owner. Okay, and let's say if you want to change this format, you can always do it from here. Like if you click over here, not edit list, 1 minute. Yeah, you can always do the filtration from here for sure, and also you can check it, right? And I think there's another way. Yeah, so whatever fields also you want to display, you can also display it over here. For example, let's say I want to also see the industry. Okay, so if I want to see the industry, I can always add it in this list view. And okay, I think I'm fine with this. Let's say if I also want to see the shipping country, let me add it over there. Fine. And as well as the annual revenue, as well as the billing country. And now if I click on save, I'll be able to see everything over here. Okay, and of course, you can always search whatever things you want to search over here, and it will filter it down to that search. There's no issue over here, right? And also this is a clickable link, so you can always dig down deep into that particular record if you want to have more information over here. This is a basic list view which we have, more or less something like the Excel sheet which we maintain as well. The only thing is there, here you won't be able to do any filtration or further. Like let's say if there's a billing country, you have to search it over here maybe. For example, I think if I search HI, yeah, if I search something over here, it will actually, at least on the top level, it will filter it down based upon these two terms. But after that, if you see, I mean, some of the other things are also viewing it. The reason being, whichever words you search, no, it's just searching based on that word. So you're not able to do the filtration properly over here. Now that is something you can do on the Excel sheet for sure. But yeah, definitely you can make use of this feature maybe. So here, if you can add that, billing state or province, you need it as HI. That is something you can always do the filtration, and based on this filtration, it will give you those information. Okay, but here also if you properly view it, it's still a little bit of cumbersome process, because here you have this limited view right now, and if you bring in certain other fields, it will get too uh, jumbled up over here, and the spacing and all will also reduce, which will become difficult for you to view it. And then if you want to do certain filtration, you are not having easy access to the filtration, you have to add it over there. Okay, similarly in Excel, at least you can still do the filtration and all on the top level. But at the end of the day, it's all about viewing. Here you are viewing the data just in a very simple format. Okay, and there's a high chances that you don't want to work it, like as human minds. Of course, there are many people who will love to read books for stories, but at least in today's world, we love to see anything which is visual. Like we always prefer movies to get that same experience of stories. So a story is something you can always view it in a book, you can read it in a book, or you can always watch it in the screen as well, right? So what's the advantage? Because when you see something visual, you get a different level of excitement, right? There's a different kind of impact it creates on your brain. So here we are having just a simple normal point and click. Now the same thing, if I can show it to you visually, you will actually feel much more interest. Now how to achieve this particular thing? So for that, first of all, remember that you have this data manager, where you get to know the sources from where you're collecting your data. Okay, for example, if I go to this connect tab, fine, and you see this sftc underscore local, right? So this is nothing but all the data which you have in your current org, where you have the science analytics studio. From there you will get to have access all the information. For example, here I have all the accounts, right? So for this accounts, if I want to view it, what I will do, I will just go to this account, and I have to just run this thing. Now what is the meaning of run data sync? Just remember this thing. In Salesforce, at least for the standard reports and dashboards you have, you get to see the data real time. Now, what I mean to say by real time data, it means suppose if I create any new record right now, fine, immediately that won't be accessible in the Tableau CRM. Okay, so until unless you run the record. For example, let's say if I run this, fine. So as I go forward, I will give you a better picture of what I mean by that. That Salesforce WSM doesn't give you real data, and you have to run the sync once. So currently, while after running the sync, it will fetch all the records, including all the recent ones which I have right now in Salesforce. Fine. So as you can see, it ran successfully. Now the next section. So this is something which you have on the Connect tab. So here currently I'm able to pull in all the objects and its related fields which I have from my local Salesforce org. Local Salesforce org means the Salesforce org where you have this Analytics Studio. And if you want to pull in data from other orgs, it could be other Salesforce org or it could be any other application like I have this Heroku database over here, for example. That also you can do. It's just that you have to give certain credentials, and based on that you will be able to connect with any other external sources as well. And from there also you can pull in the data. For example, I had this Canada sales, different Salesforce org, as well as the external Salesforce org, which is the external Salesforce application, and from there I'm pulling certain objects and all, as you can see over here. Okay, so this is all about pulling the data. And after that, if you want to do certain transformation, that kind of transformation is something which we do on the data layer side. So this data layer side consists of two things, which is nothing but the data flow and recipe. Fine. For example, if I click on this create data flow, and let's say if I just write account over here, and let me just click on create. Okay, now once I do that, I will like go through this nodes what each of this means. But for now, just understand, if I go for this SFTC digest, let me just write account over here, and let me write account. And now let me just pull in certain fields, for example name, and let me pull in ID, and let me pull in uh, let's say industry. I will come back to this again. Like currently I am just wanted to show you something on the dashboard very quickly, but I will again come back to these things what each of this actually means. Fine. So now this is the registered node. So let's say, let me write it as account. Mm, now let me just simply update and run the data flow. So don't get confused or nervous by whatever I'm showing you. As I told you, I will again come back to this. I will again come back to this. But this is a particular data set which have been created right now. So right now, here, as you can see, the total number of records which I have is 1055. Fine. So this is the number of records which I have. Now, what I mean to say that it doesn't pull in the real data is, for example, let's say, so just remember here you have 1055 records. And now, for example, if I go over here and if I again, click on new, and let me just create a record. Let's say Tableau CRM sample batch 4, something like that. Okay, and now just let me click on save. Now this is a particular record which I've created, right? But the thing is that here if you see, it's showing 1055, and let's say if I again open this link once again, let me open this particular data set once again, you will still see it's actually showing 1055. But if I've created a new record right now, it should actually show you 1056, right? So that is what I mean, that it doesn't show you the real time data, which means, excuse me, yeah, sorry about that, which means any new records or any kind of few records which you create instantly, that particular records won't be able to view instantly in the Tableau CRM. That's why you still see 1056. Now, to see that extra record which I created right now, what you have to do, you have to again go to this monitor section. Okay, I sorry, in the connect section, and in the connect section, you again have to run this particular sync. So let's say if I run the sync once again, so let this sync gets completed. It will just take a couple of seconds. So let us wait. Okay, it ran successfully. Now, from where I'm getting this data set, okay, so from where I'm getting this data set, just now I've created a data flow for you. So from wherever you will get the data set, after running the sync, you have to ensure you run the data flow, because when you ran the sync, you already have all the information collected in that particular database connect. But to view it on the data set, you have to run that particular data layer. It could be either data flow recipe from where you are pulling that data set. So from here only I'm pulling the data set. That's why my next step will be to run this data flow. So now if I run this data flow, so it ran successfully. And now if I open this particular account view, okay, let me open this right now. So if you see over here, you see 1056, you see that one number got increased. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say it doesn't bring you the real time data. That is something which is achievable in Salesforce reports and dashboard. But because this is a separate product altogether, this is a simple step you have to follow. Whatever new records you create, you have to ensure you always run it in the connect first of all, and from whichever data layer that part is coming up, you have to kind of run that. Any question up till here? Don't ask question like, what is this digest node and all. I will come back to that. Okay, I will again be coming back to all those things. We have to do that reverse engineering process for sure. But at least you understood this term real data, right? What I meant by this, why it's not bringing the real data, and to bring the real data, what needs to be done. So any question on that side till here?
So basically, this Tableau, which is external, like we install through App Exchange, right? So
No, it's a separate product. This CRM Analytics,
separate.
it's a separate product that needs to be purchased. But being developers, Trailhead, it's just like, you already have idea about Salesforce development, isn't it? So Salesforce
Yes.
provides you a tool, right? I mean, a Trailhead link through which you can access the developer console and do all kind of coding which you want to do, right? So being developers, if you want to learn it, this is a particular Trailhead link which I shared with you in the chat window as well in the very beginning. So through this, you can just create and have access to the say this product. But otherwise, in real time scenario, yes, this product needs to be purchased, because through free org, you of course get to know the whole picture, but you don't get to have, I mean, all the features are not provided over here. Like some of the features exclusively is done when you go for the paid version. Okay, and this is something for the
Mhm.
organization. This is something we shouldn't be worried about as developers.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be worried about these things. You will get to learn everything. Okay, so it's something, it's a headache for the organization who wants to purchase that. And uh, just like you have this kind of Netflix, all these things which you purchase, right? There's always some upgraded features which you can uh, access once you pay a little bit more. So this is something we have don't have to worry about. But yeah, it's a separate product which needs to be purchased in real time world. Yeah, when you work in any projects.
Yeah, like in integration, like whenever we update a data in Salesforce, uh,
Mm-hmm.
we sync the data, right? Whenever there are any updations. So in the
Mm-hmm.
same
Mm-hmm.
way, in Tableau, here we are syncing and refreshing, uh, running.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You are right on that. Yes.
Thank you.
So one thing I want to add over here as well, like let's say if there's a production environment, definitely when there are new records, it's not possible that somebody will run it manually all the time, right? Because when it comes to production, you always wants to see the real data. I mean, you can't just put an excuse that, hey, in CRM Analytics you won't be able to get the data all the time. That's why you have to run it manually. That's not the way it works. In those kind of scenarios, actually here you have the option to schedule as well. Like you can see at the top something called schedule, right? So In terms of production, where you need, let's say, the recent data, to overcome that, you can always run as a schedule. As a schedule means you can choose whatever time you want to run. Okay, let's say if you schedule it, if you want, you can schedule it hourly wise, so that uh, you again will not be able to get the data real time, but you can still get close to real time, you can say. Fine. In Tableau CRM, definitely you can't get real time, but to get it close to real time, at least in production, then you can always schedule that. So you can schedule it by hour, week, month, whatever way you want to. Suppose if I schedule it every day, okay, so if I click on save, automatically this sync will run every day at this particular time. And if I go for hourly, then it might run hourly as well. And similarly, whatever data flow and recipe you build up, that also can be scheduled. For example, just now I build up this account, right? So this account also, if I want, I can schedule it. Okay, so if I, let's say, schedule it, it can be time based or it can be event based. Event based means, let's say if I want to run this particular data flow after certain other data layer, then I can always go for event based. Or if I want to go for time based, I can run it hourly, weekly, whatever way I want to. I can just select this, okay, and I can give the timings, and automatically it will run. So let's say even if somebody creates any record, like manually I ran the connect, then I ran the data flow. In production, it's not possible that somebody will always have to do it. Otherwise, you will need a person to maintain it. So this is one good feature, that you can schedule it, and automatically it will give you close to real time data, if not real time data. Okay, fine. So this is one data set which I created right now, and here I will be able to access all the information. Okay, like ID, industry, name, which I have over here. I have selected very few things. So let me do one thing. Let me select a few other fields, because I have very limited fields. I won't be able to show you on the dashboard. So let me just select a few more fields. For example, let's select annual revenue. Let me select the billing city, billing country, billing state, created date, owner ID, account phone, shipping city, shipping country, type. Yeah, and I think that's it. So let me just click on save, and let me update and run this. So it ran successfully. Let's say if I want to create a dashboard right now. Okay, so as I told you, like here, you are able to see that basic list view which you see. If you want to do those filtration, all you will always have to do it from here. Let me go for all accounts once again. Okay, and if you want to add certain extra fields, you can always do it from here. Select fields to display. So I have brought in all the information. Let's say if I want to build a dashboard right now, just click on this create and go to this dashboard. Okay, let me create a blank dashboard. Fine. So now all the account related information, I can bring it over here, and I can make that dashboard. Let's say in the first, let me put in, let me give this as account list view, for example. Okay, so let me just write here account list view. Fine. And let me give it middle alignment, and let me give in a few filters over here. So from this filter, let's say I select this data set which I have created right now. Okay, and let's say I select uh, industry, for example. Okay, and in the next filter, let's say I go for the same data set, and let me select billing country, for example. Okay, and in the next one, let me go for again the same, and let me select shipping country, for example. And maybe here, let me select something called created date, for example. And now let me bring in certain charts over here. So what I'm going to do, let's say I bring in the account name, for example. Okay, let me click on done. And maybe over here, let me bring the industry, for example. Okay, and let me click on done. And at last, let me bring a table section. And let's say if I go to this values table, let's say all this information I need. Let me just delete this billing city. Let me just delete this things, and let me click on done. Okay, and here I can always play around, like I can always make the changes the way I want to. For example, this widget, yeah, let's say I give it as fit to widget. Okay, now just observe over here the same thing. Okay, here in the list view you are able to see this thing, and if you want to do filtration you have to do, and it's basically a textual based kind of a view which you get over here. Now the same thing, if I want, I can also view it on the dashboard layer. It provides you a better visualization. For example, here if I click something from, let's say, agriculture, apparel, banking, I want to see this three industry. If I click on apply, it will fetch me all the records which are having the information related to it. That means here I am able to see the account name. So all the account name which you see right now, okay, all this account name belongs to this particular industry which I have selected. If you hover to the table as well, you get to see this. All the information which you are seeing, fine. These all are related to that industry itself. And if you want to see the number of counts, you can directly view it over here. Now, these are some of the extra information which is very hard to view it on the list view, right? Or let's say if you're having an Excel sheet, in the Excel sheet, still at the very bottom, you get to see the numbers and all. But still, it's again textual based, and there could be a lot of limitations. So that is one advantage which you have in the visualization tool. Like it makes it much more excitement, and it doesn't let you, you know, feel that you are doing a boring tasks. For example, anyone who maintains certain data and all through their register, or uh, through Excel sheet, there's a high chances that after a certain point of time they might get bored, and they won't like to do a lot of work which is assigned to them. But here it reduces a lot of effort. Actually, first of all, it's not that let's say if you have a register node and somebody told you that hey, I want to see, I mean, let's say for industry, I want to see all the information related to this three industry. You don't have to worry. I mean, in the register, I mean, if you have a manual register, you have to actually search a lot, which is effort, which takes a lot of effort. But here it doesn't take. I mean, here you can just simply do the filtration, it will give you information. Now coming back to Excel, or this list view, here also you can achieve that easily, not an issue. It won't take much effort, but the only problem is very textual based. And you have to again do manually filtration over here. In Excel sheet also you have to manually do filtration, and then you have to count it. So after a certain point of time, it could be very boring tasks. So to avoid this, we always go for visualization tool. Now here, no matter what kind of information you need, you can easily view it. You don't need any extra person to do that. At least whoever is there in the upper position, they will always need somebody, their subordinates, to give them certain information, right? Like, hey, tell me what are the uh, information related to this, what are the sales related to this. Now all those information one can easily view it over here. Let's say if somebody wants to view the revenue it's generating for a particular name, so you can always go for the sum of amount over here, sum of annual revenue. In account we have that. Okay, and maybe you can just go for decreasing order, you can update. And let's say if the upper management wants to view certain information, that hey, for this industry, let's say for education, electronics, energy and engineering, what is the revenue which I'm generating, or each of the person is generating, then this is the information. Like at the top level, these are the persons who are generating this industry, and based on each industry, what is the revenue which I'm generating. Now that is also something you can achieve over here. Like you just click over here, you go for sum of annual revenue, and you can just go for descending order, and you can click on update. And again, let's say if I click on preview and if I select those industry once again, that is education, electricity, energy, then you know what exactly is the revenue which is being generated. That is something I can easily view it over here, right? You don't have to in Excel sheet. It becomes so difficult to have this kind of visualization to make it exciting. Okay. uh, and after some point it becomes dull as well. But here, from this, the way it's built up, of course, when it comes to building up the dashboard, the more beautifully you make it, the better. Because you know, any picture which you make, right, I mean, you have a lot of hit pictures, you have a lot of flop pictures. At the end of the day, it's telling you the story only, right? But why certain pictures gets hit and why certain gets flop? Because the impact which it creates, isn't it? At the end of the day, any picture, if it has a certain stories, beautiful story, but it doesn't deliver the way where it can impact the audience, where it can, you know, leave some kind of visual imprint in the audience mind, then it will be a flop movie. So similarly, when it comes to dashboard, there are a lot of UI changes. You can make it beautifully in a lot of way, and you definitely need to do that, so that anybody who is in the upper management who is viewing this dashboard, they just love it. They just love that dashboard. So that is a separate thing. But at the end of the day, I hope you all understood, like, why, compared to the list your Excel sheet which you have, why this is a better visualization tool and why this is preferred. Okay, you can drill in down a lot of information easily over here through point and click. And let's say if you want to drill down to certain other information, it helps you to do that through any kind of visualization tool. And this is one of them. Okay, any question up till here, whatever I've covered? And after this I will just tell you, walk you through a bit of more features which we have. Fine. But the whole purpose of this CRM Analytics is this one only. Anybody has any question up till whatever I have done?
So, like, how is the job market for this analytics?
Okay, yeah. So as I told you, and analytics is a huge industry. Okay, so as far as job market is concerned, there's huge scope, and definitely I can tell you in the coming futures there will be huge job opportunities created. Fine, for the analytics market particularly. But in analytics, you know, as I told you, there are a lot of visualization tool which you have. You have Power BI, you have uh, Tableau, and of course you have this tool as well. And there are a lot of other tools which I am not aware of. Okay, so it has a huge scope, because as I told you, like, just imagine at one point of time we used to maintain something on the register note, right? I mean, I remember during our school days, or maybe in your school time also, there used to be a separate accountant team where, you know, they used to maintain the information in a registered book. And if let's say the principal wanted to know certain information, they always has to go to that accountant. Later on, maybe they have started, you know, doing it on the Excel sheet. But again, in Excel sheet also, because it's textual based, it kind of gives you limited information, or it becomes a mundane and boring task after a certain point of time. Okay, but with the huge collection of data, at least from any organization or business point of view, they are always collecting data, right? Because as if you create an organization, if you are creating anything, and if that is sustaining for a long years, the data is also increasing because the population is increasing, right? More and more customers are coming in, isn't it? So of course you always need to store those information, so that those customers who are buying certain things from you, they always buy it in the future as well, right? Like at the end of the day, whoever is our clients, how we can ensure that, you know, that client remains sustain us for a longer time by providing better service, right? And that is what any organization does. Whoever customers are coming in, how they can ensure that, you know, that customer always buys certain other things by giving them better services. So definitely it has a lot of scope for sure. Viewing the data, analyzing where exactly certain things are missing, where exactly certain KPIs are not working, where exactly your business is getting hampered. That is something you'll always do through the visualization tool. So it has a huge scope for sure in the future. Coming back to this particular tool, maybe about Salesforce CRM Analytics, definitely compared to the visualization tool, as I told you, like Salesforce itself does a lot of things. Fine. So definitely, if you say in terms of analytics tool, that is cloud computing tool, this is definitely way ahead than any other tool. I'm not talking about this CRM Analytics, I'm talking about Salesforce in particular. Now this is something which is a bit relatively new compared to other analytics tool, like, you know, the Power BI, Tableau, that has been existing for a very long time. So that's why, compared to that, it is definitely not there maybe up to the mark, but definitely it's competing for sure. A lot of features are getting added, and it has a huge scope for sure. I personally feel there will be huge scope. The competition will always be there, of course, with different analytics tool. Uh, but yeah, just because of the feature which Salesforce itself provides, definitely you can expect a lot going on. And currently, there's huge demand for this particular tool, for this Salesforce CRM Analytics. You have a huge scope on the Salesforce development side, no doubt about that. Like the market is always there for the developers, like who is knowing Apex class, LWC. They definitely have a lot of demand, because programmatically when you achieve a lot of things out of the box which is already there in the features, they will have a lot of demand for sure. But other than that, I mean, at least that's a programmatic side which is there. But other than that, this is something where you have a lot of market scope for sure. Okay, yeah, anybody else has any further question? Avinash, your slide small disturbance, small sound. Okay, fine. So now, if I hover to the Analytics Studio, so this is more or less about this dashboard part, as I showed you. Let me just save it maybe. And from here, let's say if you want to open the records in the Salesforce side, that is also something you can do. So how you can achieve that? Like if you go over here, you just need to edit this data set. And here you have this thing called configure action. So let's say for the name part, you can just simply click on ID, and you can just write name, and you can open the Salesforce record. Let's say if you want to open the Salesforce record, so you can always do that if you click on save over here. And now again, if I go to this dashboard and let me just refresh this dashboard once. So now if you see, let's say I have gone for this industry, education, electronics, energy, engineering. If I click on apply, and now in the bottom table I am able to see those industry and it's related them. Let's see if I want to drill down further and want to see that information in details, because here you are not able to see everything. Let's say if you want to specifically go down to that record, you can always go it from here. You can always select on this particular link and you can just click on open record. Let's say if I want to open the Thompson, so if you just click over here, you will be able to redirect to that particular record. So from here you will be able to see much more in details about those record. Okay, so that was something you were able to do on the list view. It's a linkable kind of a text which is provided. You can directly click from here, and here also you can achieve that. Like let's say if I brought in certain tables, you can view it from here. Okay, so as I told you, in the data manager side, basically you will be able to, of course, pull in the objects and its related fields. So these are all the objects which I have from my SFDC local, like from the org where I'm having the Einstein Analytics. And here you can see there are a certain number of fields which are selected. So based upon the number of fields which is like here I have everything selected, but let's say there are some certain kind of fields only which you want to pull up, then always you can select it from here. And if I click on continue, there's something called as filter section. Now when you are working in an organization, there might be a high possibility that they don't want all the records to get pulled in. There could be certain records which could be very sensitive, and maybe they don't want it to come in on the analytics side. Okay, so in that case you can always do certain kind of filtration over here. Fine. For example, let's say if I can give something like industry equal to agriculture. Okay, something like that, I can always give it over here. Fine. So we will walk through the much more in details, like how to go about the syntax and all, but I was just saying that the filtration is also something you can add over here. Okay, I currently don't have any filtration over here. Fine, but you can always add that. So let's say there are certain industry which you just want to pull in on the Tableau CRM database, then you can directly add it over here. Okay, so this is the way you can pull in the objects and whatever fields you need, as well as you can do it from the external source as well. Now how to connect from external source or external data? You have this connect to data. Okay, So here, for example, I have connected this Salesforce external org. So you can always go to add connection, and let's say if you want to add certain data, you can just give the credentials over here. So these are some of the credentials which is required, which I will be walking through in details once we start with the session. But you can always view it from here. And if there is another any other external data which you have, okay, for example, if you want to go through some MuleSoft data or some other live connection data, you can always view it from here as well. Okay. So for example, if I click on add collection, it's not only about Salesforce. I have a lot of option. You can see the Redshift connectors, the Marketing Cloud, Heroku, Google BigQuery, okay, Microsoft Azure SQL, okay, then SAP, HANA, so Snowflake. So let's say there could be different external system an organization is having, and let's say they want to view it in the analytics tool. So here you can actually connect, fine, and once you connect, you have to give certain credentials, of course, and once that is done, you can bring in that data. Okay, so after that you will be able to view those objects, those fields, as well as the records basically from here. So this is where the connect tabs comes into picture. And after that, here basically if you want to do the transformation, so at the end of the day, the CRM ad is nothing but an ETL tool. What is ETL? ETL is nothing but extract, transform, and load. Basically the whole principle of analytics works on this ETL. Okay, so extract is something, as I showed you right now on the connect, you can always extract it from your local Salesforce or any other external Salesforce or any other external database. Fine. And the next part is the transformation. The transformation is like once you have collected the data, if you want to do certain transformation, for example, when I went for this account, okay, currently I'm just showing you all the fields and everything from here. But let's say if I want to do certain transformation, for example, let's say I wanted to show you only those industry which is equal to agriculture. Fine. So currently, like if I open this account view, let me open the account view data set. So if you see over here, if I bring in the industry, for example, okay, now here you are able to see all this industry. Let's say I want to only see the industry agriculture. So that is nothing but known as transformation, which I need to do. Currently, that's the requirement. So what I can do, I can just bring in this filter node, okay, and I can just write industry. Source is nothing but the previous node. So after this account, I want this to come, this filter node to come. So here they have given certain example. So in my case, it will be industry equal to agriculture. And after this node, let me just register this. Okay. So what I did, I have given industry is equal to agriculture. So now if I update and run this data flow, fine, I will be only able to see the agriculture industry when I open the data set. So let us check that. So now let me open this account view once again. Now you see you have very limited number of records. Now if I pull in the industry, okay, see only agriculture over here. You don't get to see other industry. Why? Because I did transformation. This is what transformation means. I did the transformation over here. Okay. So here you have a lot of nodes. Now transformation is something you can do on the data flow as well as on the recipe. So on the data flow, you have a lot of nodes over here which helps you to do those transformation. So coming back over here, SFTC digest is nothing but it helps you to bring data from your local Salesforce doc. For example, if I click over here, you always get to see the source object. So whenever I click any source object, right? For example, if I click on opportunity, okay, let's say if I click on opportunity, then it will bring me all the records which I am having in my local Salesforce doc, which means the org where I am having the analytics studio. Okay, like this product from where you are viewing it, that is from present on this particular log. That means the local Salesforce log. Okay, and let's say if you want to bring in data from other external logs, you have some other external logs, right? So there you can just provide the connection name. For example, I had this external Salesforce, which is nothing but a different Salesforce log. Now from there, if you want to put in the data, you can give the objects and fields, and you can bring in through this digest node over here. Okay, then you have something called as the age mod. Let's say if there are certain CSV file which you want to upload. Okay, so all those upload you can do it through the edge mod. Or let's say there are some existing data set. For example, here if you see, I have a lot of existing data set which is already present, right? So here, let's say if I want to go for account view one, for example, okay, what I can do, I can just search for that name, account view one. and I can pull in this account view one as a HMart. So HMart is like, let's say there are certain CSV file which is uploaded, or there are certain already existing dataset. For example, this is an existing dataset which I'm already having, and based on that, if you want to do certain other transformation, you can always put in as an HMart over here. Okay, and then you have the append node. Let's say there are certain records which you want to just combine. Append is like combining, fine. So you can be having data from other orgs as well. So if you want to combine those, you always go for the append node. Append is nothing but simply addition, it just adds the data. Okay, and then we have the augment node. Let's say there are certain records, for example, like you all are working in this Salesforce. So let's say for example I have this opportunity, right? So for example, I have this opportunity, svtechsoft Vasu. Okay, now this particular opportunity is already related to certain account, right? And if I open this account, right, for example this account svtechsoft company, okay, I can see this svtechsoft company has so many contacts, as you know, as well as 6 opportunities. Okay, now this is where the augment comes into picture. It helps you to define the relationship between different objects which you have in Salesforce, or it could be other external system as well, but let us stick to Salesforce right now. So based upon that relationship, if you want to bring in those records, you can always view it over here. For example, in this one I have this svtechsoft company, right? So in the svtechsoft company, let's say I want to bring in all the opportunity records. So how I can do that? Here you can just go to this particular, let's say, augment node, and in the left source you can always go for account. Okay, and in the right source you can go for opportunity. And here, let's say if you go for lookup single value, what it will do for you, it will only pull in one particular opportunity for you. Okay, you have so many opportunities, it will pull you any one random opportunities, but if you go for lookup multiple values, it will pull in all the opportunities for you. Okay, so that is what this augment node does for you based upon the relationship and the IDs which are there. Like, and of course here you have to know the relationship properly. For example, one account can have many opportunities, but one opportunity can only have one account. That is how the relationship of the standard objects are based in this Salesforce. So depending upon that, you can actually give that key, and we already have that key. I mean, we already have the account ID in opportunity, so we can take the ID of account and the account ID from opportunity, and based on that key, we can actually bring in that records. So that's where the augment node comes into picture. Let's say if you want to add certain new fields from your own. Okay, like in Salesforce side, you already have all these fields, right? And I think you already know how to create some custom fields, isn't it? So to create custom fields, you go to object manager and you can go to field and relationship and you can create your own custom fields, right? But in Einstein it is also, let's say if you are adding certain fields from your own. Okay, now that is something we call as derived fields. In Salesforce, when you add that, you call it as custom fields. But if you want to add certain data from your own, you always go for this compute expression, like adding certain derived fields. And compute relative is more like, you are performing all the derived fields, but if you want to do it across the rows, you go for this compute relative node, fine. And then there are certain other, like this helps you to convert dimension to measures. Okay, you have this flatten node. Let's say there's a particular hierarchy which you're having, and if you want to view that hierarchy, you can always make application of this flatten node. Okay, and this is something which comes under the story part. And then you have the filter node, which does the basic filtration which I've done right now. Okay, you can achieve a lot of combination of filters as well, fine. So that is something I will explain once you attend the sessions and all. Slice data set, let's say there's certain rows which you don't want to bring in, then you can always go for this slice data set. For example, here, if I show you right now, here you get to see a lot of this, I mean a lot of dimensions, right? Like account, phone, billing, city, all these dimensions you're able to see. What slice data set does for you is it actually reduces those kind of columns for you. For example, here if I go for this slice data set right now, let's say if I want to see certain fields only. Okay, let me give it as industry. And here, let's say I want to see only certain fields. For example, I just want to see the ID. Okay, I want to see the industry and I want to see the name. Okay, I have set keep these three. Now if I click on create, okay, and now let me just join this. Let me click on update and let me run this. So because what I did over here, I have only added these three columns right now. So once I go to my register node, I will be only able to see these three columns, because currently you're able to see so many co- columns, right? But once this data flow runs successfully, and again if I open this particular account view once again, you will be only able to see those three columns. So right now, let me go to monitor, let me click on refresh. Okay, it ran successfully. Now let me open this once again, and here you see you're only able to see these three particular dimensions right now. Why? Because I added the slice and I ensure that I just bring in those dimensions which I wanted to view. Okay, so in this way you can do a lot of transformation. So that is something you can do over here. Let me remove this. Fine. And at the end of the day, whatever things you do, you have to register it somewhere, you have to view it as a data set. So to do that, you always have to go for a SFDC register node. Okay, as well as you have a lot of information, like here you can run the data flow, you can update the data flow, you can download, and you can upload if you want to view the JSON format of this data flow, like what are the things I have, how it's built. Okay, as a JSON format, you can always view it from here, you can download, and always you can check it as a JSON format. So similarly, just like we have the data flow, there is something called as the recipe. Fine. So for example, if I open any node of recipe, so this is also a transformation tool only. Fine. So here you will also get to see a lot of things. For example, here you will get to see how we can transform, how we can do filtration, how we can aggregate. Okay, and then join, append, update, all this information, all the extra nodes which are uh, there, you can always check it on the recipe section as well. Fine. And at the end of the day, once that everything is done, okay, the information you can always view on the data set, like whatever name you give in the register node, based on that, based on the name and alias, you can always view it over here. Okay, and you can drill down further, like whatever you want to check, whether you want to check the count of rows or anything, you can always do it from here. Let me do one thing, let me open something like this one. Fine. So here, let's say if I want to view the sum of amount, I can always do it. Let's say if I want to view the maximum of amount, I can always do it over here. Okay. So I have very limited number of records, but anyways, and after that, let's say if I want to view certain kind of information, then I can always bring it from here. Okay. And once that is done, like how to beautify that, like what kind of charts I can go for. For example, let's say if I go for something like industry. Fine. Let me do one thing. Let me remove that node, or let me see if I can bring in certain other. Okay, so you can always check those things, and let's say in the past, if you want to bring in certain things, you can always bring in whatever information you want to. For example, let's say if I bring in the industry, as well as let me bring in the stage. Okay, now if you want, you can beautify this. For example, for this agriculture, what are the stages which I have, and what is related sum of amount, I can view it properly over here. You can always beautify this chart, like you can go for column. Okay, if you want, you can go for stack. So in this way, it's appearing much more beautiful if you see, right? So there are different kind of charts and all which you have, because at the end of the day, of course, it's a visualization tool. You are able to, like, you are having an advantage over a book over here. I mean, one story you can read it from book, but you are able to show it as a film. But to make it a better film, you can always beautify that. You can ensure that you can bring in as much data and as much information as possible. Okay, so all this thing is something like how to go about that, and if there are certain external sources, how you are connecting it, and how you are merging those information, all these things we are going to learn much more properly. And if there are certain calculation which has to be done, how you can do it on the data layer side. And let's say if there are two different data set. For example, I've built this dashboard, right? Now if you see over here, for example, let me just go to the initial mode, and here if I select this industry, fine, apply, you can see all the charts are getting faceted, right? Like this particular chart is getting faceted, this one. But let's say there's a requirement that, hey, I don't want this to get faceted. Now what does faceted means? Let me just tell you what this term means. I will be using this a lot. So faceted means when you select certain values over here. For example, let's say if I selected agriculture, apparel, and banking. Okay, you see these charts are getting changed, right? So based on the filter what I've done, the charts, everything is getting changed over here. This is known as faceting. Okay, based upon certain selections, it is reflecting those changes. For example, here when I select, let's say, I just select biotechnology, and if I click on apply, you see only biotechnology is coming over here. Now this kind of setting, let's say if the end user doesn't want to, like your client doesn't want to see it for the name part at least, maybe he's comfortable with the industry over here, but let's say when he wants to view the name, he don't wants to get faceted. Okay, so in that case, how you can do that, you have those kind of features over here. Like if you go to this query section, fine, and if you just type none over here, okay, just type none, and now if I click on preview, okay, now just observe very carefully. Like if I select agriculture, this is getting changed, 1 minute. For setting, okay, sorry, it's not about for setting, it's about the applying global filters. Okay, so if I deselect this option, okay, now if I click on preview, now just observe carefully. If I select agriculture, you see only this chart is getting changed, as well as the bottom part also. The bottom part is also getting changed. For example, if I click agriculture apparel banking, okay, you see this chart is getting changed, as well as the bottom chart. Fine, but this is not getting changed at all. Like if you see, from the very beginning, I'm having this Adams, Atkins, all these things, it will not get changed no matter how many things I select. If I click on apply, see this chart is not getting faceted at all, others are getting faceted. Why? Because I have just given this thing over here, that I have deselect this apply global filters. Now if I select it once again, if I click on preview again, that will happen. So if I click on agriculture, you see this is getting faceted. Now similarly the other way around, let's say when I select something over here, okay, for example, if I select something like apparel, okay, 1 minute. So based on this selection, you see how this is getting changed. Fine, you will be able to see only engineering over here. Okay, now similarly, let's say if I select apparel, you see the bottom one is getting changed. Okay, now this is not getting changed at all. For example, if I click on energy, you see the bottom part is getting changed, but this is remaining constant. Why? Because I have deselected that option. Okay, I have written none over here for setting. Let's say if I click on first setting all, now if I click on preview, let's say if I select engineering from here, see this is getting changed, this data is getting changed. Right now it's showing me all the names which are having this industry equal to engineering. Okay, let's say if I select something like agriculture over here, now currently it's showing me all the name which are having the industry as agriculture. Let's say if I select something like electronics over here, so at the left you see all the information which is having this industry electronics. Okay, but let's say if the requirement is, if I do certain selection over here, I don't want this chart to get changed. Okay, so that kind of scenario, if you just click on this setting equal to none, it will not happen. So for example, if I click over here, you see this is not getting changed at all. If I click on energy, you see this is not getting changed. The bottom part is getting changed, but not the left one. Okay, so now depending upon the requirement, like, and if you are having different kind of data set, if you are pulling that data, okay, those kind of things, how you can combine and all, that is something you are going to learn much more over here. Fine, so that is all about this CRM analytics. So here, like apps, I already told you dashboard how you can build. Then if you want to drill down further, like you want to drill down the predictions and all, that is something you can do from the stories. Lenses is like more of a reports. Let's say if I bring in certain things, let's say account view, okay, you can always view it as a lens. For example, if you just save it, and you just give something like industry of accounts, you don't have to always open this data set and bring in the industry part. You can just open this lens and it will always show you the industry section. Okay, for example, I have given industry of accounts, and now if I just open this lens, automatically this will open up for me. Okay, I don't have to again separately open the data set and uh, list down the dimensions and all, which I have to do. It will be cumbersome. So this is more of a report kind of a thing which is already built up, and this kind of report you can always put it into the dashboard section. Okay, so yeah, data set I already explained. Fine, and templates is like there are certain things which the Einstein Analytics provide for you. Okay, like when you go to this dashboard section also, you will, I have created a blank dashboard, but there are certain dashboard which is already there. Like Einstein Analytics helps you to run certain kind of dashboard, like comparison dashboard details, all this thing. You have to give certain information, and all automatically it will produce you a dashboard on its own. So templates means some of the built-in dashboards or functionality which is already present in your CRM Analytics. That kind of thing, if you want to view, you can go for the templates part. Okay. But at the end of the day, this is the whole thing about this CRM Analytics. I hope you all understood like what are the things you can expect, and what are the things you are going to learn. So this is all about the demo. I think I already extended also a bit, but yeah, just wanted to make you understand. I have just taken this session in a very simple manner, just to make you understand what is the thing you can expect from this session, what are the things you're going to learn. And yeah, of course the detailing parts you will get to know once you attend the session. But yeah, I hope you all got a gist like what it is all about and what are the expectation through which you can come to learn this course. So that's it from my end about this demo. Any question and all which you have? Srilata is asking like dynamic and static dashboard, do we have anything like that here? Dynamic and static dashboard. Hmm. um, Static dash, yeah, I mean just now I've shown you the faceting and all, right? uh, Based on that only it's static or dynamic, you can call it whatever way you want to. I've just shown you right now. Like, if you don't want to, like, based upon certain filtration, if you don't want a few charts to get changed, that is nothing but known as static only, right? But let's say based upon certain filtration you want the charts to get changed, that is something known as dynamic. So I have shown you those example how you want to achieve certain requirement based upon the end customers or clients requirement. We can always manipulate and do certain things. Visibility, yeah, visibility also, actually there are many ways to achieve. For example, let's say the app visibility, when you are creating an app, right? For example, if I go to my app section, you can always make it visible to certain members. For example, if I have this demo app svt example, for example, if I click on share, right? So as you can see, currently I have shared with me as well as there's a person called Laura. But let's say if you want to give this app access to only specific users, you can always view it from here. As well as there's something called as security predicate as well. For example, if I go to this account view, okay, if I click on edit, and here I can give, let's say if there are certain users to whom I want to give that access or certain roles, then I can always apply the security predicate, and based on that it will be only visible to specific person, specific role. Okay, there's a lot to learn actually. Fine, we can go on this further once we go with the regular session. Okay, let me see if I miss anything from the chat window. The tool is used by Salesforce. This tool is used by Salesforce admin. It's not about sales. See, this is a different product, Chandni. This is a completely different product actually, which needs to be purchased. It's not about admin or developer. Anybody can use it. Depends upon the access which you are giving. Fine. So if you want to restrict certain access, you can also do that. Okay. So actually, currently, I'm able to view this because if I go to my users, okay, let me go to my own user. Before that, let me check if there are any further questions. This I will answer right now. Okay, fine. So currently, if you see, I have this particular, there's a particular permission set which you need, fine, to be able to access this. So currently I have this permission set called Tableau CRM plus admin. Now because I have this permission set Tableau CRM plus admin, I'm able to view everything on the Analytics Studio side. Now let's say if you want to go for further restriction, okay, that also you can do. For example, if I click on edit assignment, let me directly go for permission set. Okay, so based upon permissions that you give in Salesforce, you can always restrict whatever you want to. For example, if I click on this Tableau CRM platform tester, which, so see, Tableau CRM plus admin is a default permission set. Like there you can't make any changes, there you can't edit any changes. Whoever is having, they'll be able to view everything from CRM Analytics. But let's say if your requirement is that, hey, I don't want some persons from my team to you know uh, do anything on the data flow or something like that, then what you can do, you can always create a custom permission set. This is a custom permission set. Custom means something which I have created, and based on that you can actually restrict. For example, you know let's say I don't want that profiles or whom I'm giving this permission set, they shouldn't be able to access any connector, they shouldn't be able to edit, then I will just disable those options. Like if I have this data set recipe, if I disable those options, and if this permission set is assigned to that user, once they log in, they won't be able to access these recipes and data flows, all these things. So you can always restrict whatever access you want to give further from here actually. Okay, fine. To register for CRM, do we need a new ID, or we use already registered ID for developer edition? No, no. As I just explained you in the very beginning, in your normal Salesforce developer, you won't get that. You need this. You need to create an account over here. So if you create an account over here, you will be able to view it. Okay. Also, there's a particular link called this learning map. Fine. Like if you want to learn everything in details, this will be very time consuming for sure. But and I have just given you a gist of this in whatever I can tell you in 1 hour. Okay. I just tried to explain practically whatever I wanted to show you. Okay. But yeah, this Tableau CRM, if you want to learn much more in details, you can always refer this link actually. So from the very beginning to end, you will get to know much more in details. Like all the trailers, all the documentation, everything is mapped over here actually. Fine. So here you can actually learn much more in details. In case you don't attend my session further, like this is one documentation where you can walk through in complete details and know much more about this tool. But yeah, today I just gave you a basic introduction about this tool, and yeah, if you want to learn practically and much more at a faster rate, then definitely you can attend the sessions. Fine. So this is what all about. Any question up till now, or anything you want me to explain, or any clarification you need, we can utilize. So whoever has attended this session, no questions, right? Everything is clear, right? On a high level, like what is this tool all about? Okay, fine. Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I think that's it. uh, Thank you all for attending the session, and yeah, let's catch up further in the next session if you join it. Okay, so that's it from my end. Okay, so thank you everybody. So Thiru, are you there? Okay, fine. So let us close the session then. Bye bye everybody.
Hi, Anush.
Yeah, yeah, hi. So the session is over. Okay, you can stop the
Okay.
recording.
Okay. Thank you.